Cisco and third-party integration, Splunk in Azure, Cisco Endpoint Amp, and we're going to look at dashboards. Really doesn't matter where Splunk is, but I'm calling out that it's in Azure. Anyways, we've got that Amp Endpoint app installed. We saw some data in the previous video. Now we're seeing a screenshot of some of the dashboarding that you can build out on the platform. So let's walk through that. And what we can see here is when we go to a search, we see a whole bunch of events that are coming in. In my case, it's only AMP for endpoint, so it's fairly clean, but that's what we want to focus on, right? We really want to look at the information that we're pulling out of that API that's tied into endpoint AMP and feeding into Splunk, right? So here we can see that we're focused, we're looking at that specifically, and when we kind of expand that data, we can see things like threat quarantine for event type, right? We see file disposition of malicious. So we can start now building out dashboards and trying to showcase the data in a meaningful manner, right? As opposed to just a log, right? And so here what you would do is when you come to dashboards, you would create a new dashboard. In our case, we're going to edit this one. I've already built it out, but I'm going to walk through on how it was built, right? So we've got, you know, malicious files. We've got very focused on SHA-256s. We've also got some vulnerable applications that are tied to hosts that endpoint amp's feeding into. So let's look at these actual query strings that we've built out, right? And again, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save or share these with you in the comment section. So here, if we wanted to add panels, you can see there's events, and that's the one I stuck to, but there's line charts, area charts, there's all kinds of ways of viewing that data. So I thought a couple things I'd be interested. What are the malicious files that I might be seeing over the past 7 days and the assets that are assigned to it? And I want to focus them on malicious files, right? Obviously. So here you can see source type is Cisco AMP event. You can see we're looking for the host name. It could be anything. File name can be anything. Disposition, though, has to be malicious. And then we want to also include the identity, right? So the SHA-256. So we know what the actual SHA was of that file name that we saw. And then we pipe that into fields, and there where we're going to start removing some of the fields, and then ultimately pipe that into rename, where we change things like event.computer.hostname to something a little more cleaner like computer name. So what I'll do is I'll get rid of all these fields for a second. Like I said, I'll share these in the comment section, so then all you have to do is copy and paste. And we'll apply that, and I'll show you how messy the data looks like, right? There's just a lot of stuff, and I'm not even going to scroll across, right? There's all kinds of stuff on the other side, right? But you see event.computer.hostname, right? So again, it could be a lot cleaner. So what we'll do is let's go back and we'll add in that. We'll pipe this into fields, and that minus means these are fields we want to remove, right? And then we'll come back to rename. So here's the fields. We're going to remove them, right? And again, we won't change anything with auto refresh, any of that stuff. We'll hit apply, and let's look at this. Cool, right? Now we've got the time. We've got the host name, the event type, or event disposition, the file name, etc. Right? The problem is it's still the fields themselves. The naming structure isn't ideal. You could leave it as that, but what I'm going to do is rename it. Right? So I want event.computer.hostname to be computer name, file name to be, or event.file.name to be file name. Right? And so when I go ahead and do that, it looks pretty good now, right? Like the fields are a nice clean name. The one thing I haven't figured out, and if you want to comment, is that underscore time is rename that to date. It didn't work for me, and I'd want that column to be before computer name. I'll figure it out maybe, but if anybody knows, send me a comment, and I'll update that, or I'll approve the comment to be a part of the insight for folks that are reading the comments of what you can and can't do. Now here, what this one for the malicious files, I just want that to be able to export that and maybe feed it into some other capabilities. What I did was I added a couple more fields to the ones that you're seeing here. And what I wanted to do was I want to make sure that the file is malicious, right? And And then I also did a dedupe. So in case that some of the SHA-256s had duplicate entries, I want them removed. And again, what that allows me to do is export that data out and feed that into any other system that I want to. So maybe I have an email security that's not integrated offering, and I want to now make sure that these are not coming in through email, right? So I add a blacklist, add those SHA-256s, and I'm good to go. Now with integrated architecture, you wouldn't have to do that. But again, not everybody has all the components, right? So anyways, what I did was change this the past 7 days, and this is showing you vulnerable or CVEs for assets that we selected. So I kind of, what I said was I want it last 7 days. Now I've modified that, but I want to have the CVE, the computer name, and the file name of that the asset or the application that is has the CVE associated with it. So pretty cool, right? Now I've got this dashboard. It looks like I can have it auto update automatically. So there's a lot of things you can do with Splunk to showcase the data. And here's the dashboard. And all I did was once you create the dashboard, you go back into that application and you just select it. This is one that I want to be able to present as the first screen that you see. Anyways, really cool stuff. We can export this out. Like I said, that SHA-256, all I want is the SHAs themselves. And you can see there's some duplicates here, right? And the reason why there's duplicates here is because I didn't use that dedupe command. So I did that. I showed you that as a screenshot, and I'll include the right one in the comment section. And that's it, right? Really quick and easy. I can start now building out these really cool Splunk type reports.